Hi, I'm Kara, mom of 3, pediatric sleep expert, certified parenting coach, and founder of Well Rested Mama. Welcome to the Unswaddled podcast. Tune in every other week as we chat about baby and toddler sleep solutions, overcoming parenting challenges, and all things messy motherhood. Hello and welcome to this week's Well Rested Mama Unswaddled. We are doing a Q&A today, so I have some submissions from Instagram that I'm going to go through and answer for you guys. More questions, you can leave them in the comments or find us on Instagram. The first question is, I'm having twins, any tips? And of course, I am not a twin mom. I do think that when it comes to twins, the best thing that you can do is ideally keep them on the same schedule, eating at the same times, they're sleeping at the same time. So even if baby A is taking a great nap and then baby B is awake and having a hard time, you want to be A so that you're setting up yourself for that next nap to be at the same time. So obviously that comes with a lot of practice. There can be balls when it comes to twins, but ultimately your number one goal should be keeping them as close as possible for that, whether it's feeding, sleeping, and also when it comes to their room. Babies are used to each other, right? Twins, they've been together than they've been with you. So they're used to each other's sounds. They're used to the movements and everything. Don't be afraid that, one baby is going to disturb the other or anything like that. I do see that a lot with moms, and obviously normal that anxious when both babies sleep and now one's crying and you want to just rush to that baby so they don't wake up the other one. But in reality, that sleeping baby is most likely not fazed by that. So kind of just keep that in mind too when you're going through everything and kind of navigating your days and stuff like that. But I think that's a great place to start, and then ultimately moving forward to make sure you're doing that independent sleep, you're offering them that great sleep environment, and everything as structured as possible. Just got to one nap, wakes at 4:30 in the morning, goes back to sleep. What am I doing wrong? Okay, so this is the good news and the bad news. You're not doing anything. All babies wake up between 4 and 6 a.m. Every single one of them. There would be a problem if we're not going back to sleep. I would tell you that bedtime is at the wrong time. So let's see what the nap looks like. What's the wake window between bed? That is obviously not happening. You're saying that they go back to sleep, which is a sign that the schedule is perfect. So as long as you're continuing to allow them to go back to sleep, and as long as they're going back to sleep independently, you want to keep on keeping on. If you're having to go in during that 4:30 wake up to help them go back to sleep, then I would ask you, okay, are they starting the night independently? Or are you helping them to sleep at that initial bedtime? And that is where you might want to enter the zone of teaching them independent sleep, to where when they do wake up at that 4:30 time, they're able to put themselves back to sleep. So either of those two scenarios is going to be what brings me to either say one versus the other, right? It's normal. All babies wake between 4 and 6 a.m. It's great that they're going back down. Or you need to implement sleep training during that 4:30 wake up until your designated wake up time so that they start to put themselves back to sleep during that time. Oh, this is a funny one. What do you do with a newborn, a husband that snores and likes to watch TV at bed? Get rid of your husband. Just kidding. But really, I would either have him watch his TV in the living room, or what you could do is, and this is what Jeff and I did, is when we would watch a show or something at night, we did it in the living room so that I could put the babies to bed in their actual nurseries at bedtime. And then once I was going to bed, I would transition them and I would pick them up, bring them upstairs with me, and put them in the bassinet in our room. Now, if, obviously the snoring is difficult. So what I would say for that, if you're not comfortable with baby in their own room yet, is just cranking up that white noise. Put a white noise machine close to where they're sleeping and another one close to where dad's sleeping, and the two together will actually build a barrier, if that makes sense, and kind of block out that noise. Jeff would tell you to tape his mouth shut because nose breathing is better and he won't snore, but I'll leave that for Jeff to elaborate on. But I think there's something to that. So you could always look into why is your husband snoring and kind of fix that. But all in all, I would say kind of switch it up, move baby out, or if you can't, double stack that white noise, and ask your husband to turn the TV off. The next one is sleep tips for older kiddos. Now, this obviously isn't a specific question, so I'm just going to like answer this in a more generalized way. But when it comes to older kids, right? And let's just say Carter's 10, Blakely's 7. So somewhere right in that range. I mean, even Caleb, he's 6, right? He's not a baby anymore. The biggest thing for them is going to be routines, boundaries, and rules, to be honest, especially now that it's summer. Kids need structure. Like they thrive on routine. That's why they do so well at school. I have talked about this a million times. All of our kids are better at school than they are at home. Why? Because the teachers have rules and expectations and boundaries, and every day looks the same, and the kids know what to expect. So same thing for bedtime. We want them knowing what to expect every single night. If your child does not know what to expect every single night, they are not going to respect those boundaries. And when you try to change something on them, or you try to be like, hey, all of a sudden we're going to do bed at this time instead of this time, it's not going to go over well, and you're going to get that pushback. So setting those boundaries to where bedtime is around the same time every night. I know it's summer and I know it's hard, but having a predictable time frame that they know, okay, right? Like, all right, guys, go get your jammies on, right? Are they going to bed? They're not. However, I'm planting that seed that like, that means they're going to bed soon, right? Okay, can we watch X, Y, and Z? I might say, yes, you can watch one episode of this show, or it might be early enough. And I say, if everyone's ready for bed, let's start the movie. We have enough time if you do it right now, right? So as much as I am structured, there's flexibility in the different variations that we allow throughout the week, but they know what to expect regardless of the variation that I'm throwing their way. So it's like, yes, everything might be different, but it's only different in such a tiny amount, and the differences do not ever change. Every scenario is the same, right? Let's say we have 3 different scenarios that we do. Bed at 7:30 for everybody, one TV show starting at 7, bed at 7:30, or hey, it's 6 o'clock, let's make popcorn and watch a whole movie, right? Those are basically the 3 options that we'll like cycle through, but they know what to expect regardless of that. And if I'm ever feeling like a kid is off, right? Or I feel like if I say bedtime, Jeff does this to me all the time, okay? He'll come inside and be like, all right, everybody turn on the TV off, right? And it's like screaming. Whereas now he goes, okay, I'm going to set a timer, and in 10 minutes, we're going to turn their TV off. And they all go, okay, right? There's a huge difference in those reactions. Is the time frame that different? No, it still would have been a 10-minute time frame of everyone just screaming bloody murder until they made it to their rooms, or 10 minutes of them watching something, timer goes off, and now they're in their rooms. But the only reason that works is because we have those boundaries. We have already set those expectations, and they know what to expect every single evening, even though, like I said, some might look different. They never look that different. And that, I think, is the biggest thing that goes the farthest with kids in their age group, because they want to be in control, but they also don't. Like, kids crave that structure. So that would be my biggest recommendation. If you don't have something like that and you're kind of shooting in the dark every single evening, that's where you're going to see the fighting, the screaming, the, up, I forgot this, I have to do this, like anything they can think of. Those things are happening because they're trying to like push the boundary, if that makes sense. So rein it in. You might have to be super rigid in the beginning to kind of figure out what they can handle and where they fall. But ultimately, routine, boundaries, rules, expectations will save you. Tips for dropping the bedtime bottle for my 15-month-old. He's attached to that bottle before bed. All right, this one I'm going to just assume, right? And I hate to assume, but if he's so attached to it, that makes me feel like he might be using it to fall asleep. If he's using it to fall asleep, it's just like a rip off the Band-Aid situation. You want to remove the bottle. You can still do it within the bedtime routine, but you're just not allowing him to use it to fall asleep. If you're just trying to drop it, just like you don't want bottles anymore, you can change the timing of the bottle. Like, I remember they would go from the bottle to the sippy cup, right? And I would put the milk in there, or they would have it different times of day. But ultimately, at this age, like, it's just going to take a couple of days of you changing it up, and everything's going to kind of go back to normal, unless he's using it to fall asleep. That's where I would say would be your biggest battle, and you just want to rip off the Band-Aid, do the sleep training, teach him how to fall asleep without it. But if he isn't doing that, he is an independent sleeper, but he just loves his bottle, then I would just change what he's drinking the milk out until you gradually get to that sippy cup or whatever your goal is for them. 5.5 months old. Okay, they are saying 7 p.m. bedtime, waking at 5 a.m., puts herself to sleep for night and naps, how to stretch till 6. Okay, this is the perfect amount of information that I needed. Now, this kind of piggybacks to that first question or second question about the 4:30 wake up. Since it sounds like this little one, she's not putting herself back to sleep, which tells me she's going to bed overtired. And at this age, the schedule is super sensitive before bed. So what you're going to want to do is kind of take a look at that schedule and figure out what that last wake window needs to be. And what I mean by that is the last nap of the day, if it's restorative, she needs a 2-hour wake window before bed. If it's not restorative, she needs a 1-hour wake window before bed. And if you're exceeding that, like with either scenario, she's going to wake up for the day early. Now, when it comes to early morning wakings, the schedule change, like in itself, can instantly fix this problem. Like you could change the schedule, put her to bed, and she sleeps till 7. But there's also a chance that it can take a really long time depending on what that daytime schedule looks like and how long it takes you to kind of tweak that. So what I would recommend doing is we have our sample schedules pinned on our Instagram page, and you can scroll through and find the 4 to 6 month, 5 to 6 month schedule on there and look at that last nap of the day and look at the wake window before bed. And I guarantee you that you're doing something different, which is causing her to become overtired. So just take a peek at that. And since she's an independent sleeper for night and day, I would guess that all it's going to take is you changing that schedule and she'll be able to make it to that 7 a.m. wake up time. What is sleeping through the night for a 6-month-old? Okay, regardless of age, and I tried to be very transparent about this, no baby sleeps through the night. Like you don't sleep through the night. No one does. Everyone's waking up at some point, whether you're waking up to go to the bathroom, roll over. You don't even know you're waking up. You might just like move your head. You're waking up. So when a baby wakes up throughout the night, that's expected and that's normal, right? They're going in and out of all those sleep cycles. A baby that sleeps through the night, right? Like you have a girl next door that's like, my kid sleeps 7 to 7. It's amazing. Okay. Great for her. But that baby's not sleeping from 7 to 7. What's happening with that baby is they're waking up periodically throughout the night, but they're quietly putting themselves back to sleep, which means they're an independent sleeper. So at some point, she started putting them into the crib awake at the beginning of bedtime. They put themselves to sleep so that anytime they woke up from that point on, same thing, put themselves back to sleep. So if you have a 6-month-old who is not sleeping through the night, that means that they're waking up during those normal wake up times, but you're helping them back to sleep. That is considered a baby that does not sleep through the night. So that's like the main difference. But when someone is telling you that their baby sleeps through the night, they're not telling you that their baby is sleeping a solid 12 hours and never waking up. They're just not hearing their baby wake up. Their baby's waking up quietly and putting themselves back to sleep. How much sleep does a 3.5-year-old need at night? No regular naps, just quiet time. I personally would still say 12 hours at this point. When my kids dropped their nap around 3.5 or whatever, they were still on a 12-hour day, which means they'd wake up at 7, they'd do quiet time from 1 to 3, go to bed at 7. Okay. And that's like where that cycle continued. I would say maybe like around 5, they would start to do like Carter, especially 7 to 6. Right now, I mean, I think Caleb's 6. So he, for the past year, maybe has been doing 7:30 to 6. So it does obviously decrease. But at 3, I would say you are still able to reach that 12-hour mark. I 1000% would not go under 11 hours at night for that. All right, so that is all for today. Don't forget, we are always doing Q&As and stories on Instagram. So make sure you're following over there so that anytime we post that, you can submit your questions that are specific to your situation. And you can always, of course, if that's not happening, send us a DM and we are happy to help. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Give this video a like if you found it helpful or share with a friend. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll see you next time.